Now, a quick look at the UAE Derby. We can look at the field. Again, we don't have the chart or anything here, but we can show you the PPs for the winner as well as the replay. Look, it's one of those things where this is a difficult race generally to analyze going forward because unless you have a smashing performance, the track record for the UAE Derby horses, whether it's synthetic or dirt, is just not very good in the Kentucky Derby. And I think this result, to me anyway, sort of alludes to that, especially this year of all years. Now, look, this could be the complete opposite of what I'm saying, where of all years, maybe this is the year because it just seems like these guys haven't sorted themselves out, these three-year-olds. But, well, first things first. Let's take a look at the stretch run of this year's UAE Derby, and then we'll dive into the logistics.
And out wider on the track is Grey Magician, but they turn in, and Mangoozy still comes on strong. Mangoozy up on the outside, goes to the front, over Swift Rose Stubbins. Now down the outside, Grey Magician and Placou Parfait over on the inside. Mangoozy joined by Grey Magician. Placou Parfait is finishing hard along the inside. Placou Parfait went to the front. Grey Magician went with it. Placou Parfait in front, and Placou Parfait takes it out. Placou Parfait takes out the Derby. Wins it over Grey Magician, and Mangoozy a gap off.
Placou Parfait gets it done. His second lifetime victory. It was a hard-fought one. You had three horses across the wire. Let's take a look at the winner, Placou Parfait. He's 2 of 7 lifetime, 3 other times in the money. He's over $1.5 million in career earnings. Amazing what a big race like this with that kind of purse will do for your career earnings. Owned by Imperial Racing LLC, trained by Brendan Walsh. Bred by Callaway Stables LLC in Kentucky, ridden to victory by Jose Ortiz, and you can see the pedigree. He's by point of entry out of an awesome, again, mare named Belvidera. All right, let's just, first things first. Placou Parfait, coming into this race, was not one of the more thought of, highly thought of anyway, 3-year-olds that we had. Nor was Grey Magician, who I think ran the best race in this race here, and we'll talk about that more momentarily. You know, it's one of those things. It was a beautiful trip and a beautiful ride from Jose Ortiz, saving ground for the most part, eventually getting him out into the clear, splitting horses and going on with it. I guess I just look at it and say, if you reverse the trips of he and Grey Magician, I think Grey Magician wins by about 5. The problem with that is Grey Magician has been handled by some of our horses here in Southern California already. So I don't know that all of a sudden I'm looking at this race and saying there's a big chance that these are major Kentucky Derby contenders. I suppose a feather in their cap is that they have gone longer than anyone else will prior to the Kentucky Derby from a distance standpoint. Mile and 3/16 is the UAE Derby. Obviously, the Kentucky Derby is a mile and a quarter. And these final preps are all at a mile and an eighth. So that is something that, if you're trying to build a case, they've at least gone longer and you know they can stay perhaps better than some of these other horses at a distance more comparable to the Derby itself. But for me to look at it and see, I mean, again, maybe this is that kind of year where none of the boys have sorted themselves out. They just kind of take turns. Maybe it is setting up for some kind of a bizarre result, and maybe it will be one of these horses. The other difficult thing to keep in mind about a race like this, and I'm only talking about those 2 horses because they're the top 2 as far as the American contingent are concerned. Placou Parfait as well as Grey Magician. They were in the United States. They had to ship over to Dubai. Now they're going to have to ship back from Dubai over here to the States. Presumably both of them to their home bases. Now Placou Parfait might be at Churchill, but Grey Magician's based out on the West Coast. Then you're going to have to ship to Kentucky in a matter of a handful of weeks. It's a lot of travel. You know, that's always been a knock with the UAE horses coming over, is that you've got that giant sort of situation. You got to deal with quarantine and the whole 9. You know, again, the UAE Derby, do with it what you will. A fine effort from all of these horses. I thought they ran just fine. I just don't know how it projects forward for a race like the Kentucky Derby. And strictly speaking, from this race standpoint, the trip that Grey Magician received was just brutal. Breaking on top, being pulled back to sit in behind horses, ultimately finding yourself about 8 paths off the rail, wider than wide, putting in as big a bit as you did, and only to lose by about a half length. I think it's fair to say that he probably ran the best race as far as the Americans are concerned, especially when you factor in Placou Parfait and the fact that he saved ground basically throughout. So, again, do with that what you will. It's not the most in-depth kind of recap because I don't know how much there really is to recap and how that compares to our North American contingent or our American horses. But Placou Parfait, he is in if he wants to. And right now, for a short time, perhaps, who knows, maybe for a long time, you never know. But for a short time at least, the Derby points leader through at least one round of the final preps is Placou Parfait. He has 104 Derby qualifying points. He is in the Kentucky Derby. He gets the job done in the UAE Derby with a solid performance.